Hi everybody, so for today's topic video, I'm going to be talking about how I set up my macros. Macros are made up of calories. So your macros are your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. And I like to call the macros the magic formula to creating a physique. There's really a big difference between just eating in a calorie range versus eating to your macros. So I'm going to talk about how I set mine up, and hopefully you'll learn a thing or two along the way. So I'm Belinda. I'm a competitive vegan bodybuilder, certified master personal trainer, certified vegan nutritionist, and I am here to share my journey with you and teach you a few things along the way. So a lot of people, when it comes to macros, they use calculators to figure them out. That's definitely an option. However, that's not really how I like to do it. So how I like to do it is take what the person is eating at the time and meet them where they're at. So when I was a coach, I would do something called days of eating, and I would have the potential client send me photos of everything they eat for a few days so I can get an idea of what they're eating, what their maintenance is like. And I do the same thing, let's say for myself. I'm currently in my contest prep, as a lot of you know, but I'm not in contest prep all year. I don't eat in a strict calorie range all year. So when I back into eating to my macros, what I do is just for a few days, I track what I'm eating. I use MyFitnessPal. You could use also another app. It's called Chronometer, which a lot of people like. And what you're going to do is track your food for a few days and see what that macro profile looks like. And if you're doing this without a calculator, which is what I'm teaching you to do, I would recommend that you're weighing yourself every single morning and do this for about a week. And if what you are eating, if your weight is staying pretty stable, so let's say that's your maintenance. Those are your maintenance calories of where you're at, because a maintenance calorie intake means that you're not gaining weight or losing weight from whatever you're eating. So from there, you want to learn about macros. So in order to build a physique, you need to focus on protein. So protein is the most essential macronutrient when it comes to building muscle and building a physique. And this is where a lot of vegans get a little tripped up, because if a vegan is not prioritizing protein, it's very likely that they're probably getting under 50 grams a day. And I personally feel that it is not possible to build a physique on that low of protein for the most part. So I recommend that everybody get between 0.7 grams to 1 gram of protein a day per their ideal body weight. So let's say, for example, you are 200 pounds, but you really should be 140 pounds. You're overweight. You should be focusing on eating somewhere between 120 and 140 grams of protein a day. Can you consume more than 1 gram of protein a day? You can, but it's not necessary to build muscle, but you can. So you want to take those maintenance calories you have, look at how much protein you're eating. If you are not eating between 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight, you need to start there. So start by eating more protein. So that's the first macro you want to set up. Then from there, you want to think about your carbs and your fats. I personally feel that females really have the best body composition when they're consuming, for the most part, more or less under 70 grams of fat a day. So I actually, for the most part, keep my fats somewhere around 50 grams year round. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but I really rarely am consuming over 70 grams a day on average. Of course, there's going to be days in my year when I'm going out to eat or I'm on vacation and I'm worrying about nutrition. That's fine. We're not talking about those. We're talking about your day-to-day routine, so you have your macro profile in your head of how you should eat to look and feel your best. So I personally recommend under 70 grams a day as a female, between 40 grams and 70 grams. I really, for me, find my best look between 40 50, 55 grams in there. The minute I start going to 60, 70, I do notice that my physique is softer and I retain body fat more than I do when I eat a little lower fat. You want to be eating at least 40 grams a day for your hormone health. Then from there, so you've got your protein calories, you've got your fat calories, the rest of those calories in your equation should be your carbs. So how many carbs do you eat? Well, it really depends on your goal. So if you're eating at maintenance, you've got your protein that you're calculating, you've got your fat you're calculating, and the rest of that macronutrient profile should be your carbs. You do not want to go low carb unless there is a reason for it. You do need carbs to build muscle. You need them for energy and performance in the gym. And for the most part, for anybody that's building a physique, there's going to be 3 different phases of your macro profile. Your maintenance, which is what I'm talking about, your maintenance calories and macros that you eat at to maintain the body you want, and you can still build on maintenance because every time you lift, you're putting a little deposit in your muscle building bank. And over time, that's what adds up to the big results. You can also purposely eat in a little bit of a surplus. I wouldn't recommend a big surplus for a female. I do not think that bulking is necessarily something any female, especially an older female, let's say 35 and above, midlife female, I do not recommend anyone purposely gain weight to build muscle for the most part in most situations. If you're focused on you want to really have a great growth season in your muscle building journey, what you can do is just eat, let's say 200, 300, 400 calories more than your maintenance, and that's going to bring really great results. Then the third part is a deficit, and that's where you take from your maintenance calories and you lower them to create a deficit. And for the most part, usually you will be pulling from the carbs and the fats to do that. So those are the 3 phases. You start by figuring out, let me summarize. You start by figuring out your maintenance calories. Don't change anything you do. Just track your food for a few days and get an idea of where you're sitting at in your body composition and your weight. Then from there, decide what your goal is. Do I want to maintain and improve where I'm at? You could stay at maintenance calories and continue to build on that. Or do you want to say, I really want to build my glutes? Glutes usually need a surplus, by the way. So then you increase those maintenance calories by a few hundred. Or you say, I want to lose some fat, and that's when you create the deficit. So your maintenance is going to change as you advance in your body composition journey. Because the more muscle you have, the more you have to eat to maintain that muscle. Muscle requires a lot of food to keep it on your body and keep it going. So for example, that I've been lifting for over a decade, my maintenance calories when I started my fitness journey were probably somewhere around 1,800 calories. I'm 5'3", and before I was in the gym all the time, that's probably about where my maintenance calories sat at. I didn't track nutrition. I didn't know anything about nutrition. Over time, as I've been building muscle, my maintenance calories are usually around 2,500 right now currently, which is really cool that I'm able to eat more to maintain the body I want. I am not in that right now. I'm in a deficit right now because I'm in contest prep. But when I was at maintenance over the summer, when I finished competing and I was in my off season and reversing out of my deficit, I went back to maintenance right away. There's no perfect vegan macro split. I tend to say that 40% protein, 40% carb, 20% fat of a macro profile usually yields very great body composition results. That 20% fat might be too little for somebody, so then maybe I would change it to 35% carbs and 25% fats. You can play with the ratio that works for you as time goes on in your journey. But the anchor of your macro profile should always be your protein amount. Remember that no two people's macros are going to look exactly the same, and your macro profile will change in your journey as you continue to build muscle and be more consistent and diligent with all of this. You do not have to track your food every day for the rest of your life. What I usually recommend people do is they track a few times a month to make sure they are hitting the things they're supposed to hit. And if you're brand new to all of this, and if you're comfortable with tracking, you should be tracking every day for a while to learn your portions and learn what 140 grams of protein looks like for you. And don't compare yourself to other people. Everybody's body is a little bit different. And another thing a little bonus trick I'm going to put in there, and this is something, if I have any former clients listening to this, they'll know. If you're somebody that eats out a lot, I do factor that in to the macros. So if you're somebody that eats out 3 times a week, I'm going to take your maintenance calories of what you eat when you're eating at home most of the week. I'm going to take that, and I usually chop 200 calories off of that to make up for the fact that on the weekend or whenever you're going out to eat a few times. So if you do go out to eat frequently, make sure you're factoring that in to your overall macro profile. The most important thing is to be consistent with all of this. Perfection doesn't exist, but being consistent with your nutrition, hitting your macros, eating your protein, learning what a lower fat diet looks like, what a good amount of carbs looks like to build muscle. These are all really important things in order to build a physique and build the body you want. So just be consistent, adjust over time as your goals change, and let me know if you have any questions about this in the comments below. Anything else you guys want to know, ask me in the comments below, and I will continue to cover topics every week. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.